The Kennebunkport Historical Society is pleased to offer the artistic works of Louis D. Norton. This work was created at Christmas time in 1921. It is a hand painted 40-page thank you note with poetry written to his friends, the Snows, also of Kennebunkport. He is saying thank you for the 4-day voyage they took in a vehicle from Kennebunkport to Cape Cod. The Snows, Fred Snow, Louise Snow, and their son Carol Snow, lived on the corner of Main Street and School Street. Fred Snow was a model shipbuilder. Louise, his wife, was a socialite and loved to play mahjong. Carol, their son, attended Phillips Andover Academy, and he was an avid sailor in the Money Cat races off Cape Arundel. Louis D. Norton, or Louis Norton, is obviously a poet and an artist, but he is also a champion model schooner racer and raced his schooners at Turbott's Creek in Kennebunkport. His family owned Constitution Wharf in Boston. And now let's hear the travelogue of Louis D. Norton to his friends, the Snows of Kennebunkport, Maine. A wish to Fred, a model man, industrious too, always a friend, yes, tried and true. May health be yours as old time slips, and may you build us more fine ships. A wish for Louise, to one who surely likes us all, whose heart is big, though she is small. Our wish is old, but still in style. May trouble never spoil your smile. To Fred, Louise, and Carol, as I was the guest of your kind three, come live it all over again with me. The pleasure we had on those 4 days will remain at last with me always. Louis D. Norton. We started out one autumn morn with Nancy, Carol, and the horn, proclaiming that we'd made a start for places on and off the chart. The tip end of the Cape was where we wished to show the natives there what sort of people sometimes came to play the old ancestral game. Fred had a great-grandfather Snow. From quahogs some things will grow. At Yarmouth you'll find a hedge, who 1670, I allege, quit being captain of a ship and had to let his cables slip. How that old hardy sea dog would rise up to know he'd raised an artist pup. But then, ah me, life's a life, some born to pleasure, others strife. If those old men could see us now, I don't think they'd kick up a row. I think they'd shake us by the hand and wonder how a man could stand temptation in our modern day. It's some stunt, by gosh, I'll say. The first day out we stopped but once, this side of Cambridge, for our lunch. And say, 'twas good, take it from me. I put away enough for 3. We passed through 3 states our first day. That's some going, you bet. And if it hadn't grown too dark, we'd all be going yet. Tween Boston and some other town, we slackened up our joys, for that damn whistle started up one rank, continual noise. From little things there sometimes start the loudest kind of plaint. But when you find the trouble out, you really see there ain't. We hit the pace most all the way, but Mother Nature had her say, and made Fred stop, if not for us, at least for Nancy, lucky cuss. The lovely towns that we passed through, why search a road book? Guess it's blue. Don't make a study of the Cape, just drink it in. Let names escape. The highlands, dunes, and winding streams are like a sleeper with his dreams, a sweetness that one only feels, which nature to her lovers deals. The views were grand most all the way, but Carol got our goats. For all he saw from first to last was boats and boats and boats. We passed a school at 35, a football made a thud. We missed a boy by half an inch. His name was almost Mud. The funniest little motor cop was a honeybee. He made Fred stop. He's on to all speeders, as yet unhung. Oh, he'll hold you up, and you'll sure get stung. Jerusalem Road, in a class of its own, is not described, it must be shown. Another lunch down by the sea, the first at 11, the second at 3. At Plymouth we tarried a moment or two to see the museum and take a view of Plymouth Rock and the Mayflower ship. 'Twas a shellish affair, so we'll let this slip. Most every grave, church, mound, or rock where anything was written attracted our inquisitive Fred. With antique bugs he's bitten. His grandpa gave a library at Orleans on the Cape. We saw that, and his graveyard too. From that we couldn't escape. At Highland Light was a great fog horn. I imagine they test it out each morn. And as Nancy was playing around in front, she got a surprise, poor little runt. The one sweet view that stays with me is just a hillside and a tree, a bit of shore and ocean blue. If you've lost that, I pity you. At Provincetown we saw high art, smelt all the smells that fish can start, ate at the Bluebird, neat and sweet, the only place they didn't beat. Then up the monument we climbed, but Freddie vowed he'd stay behind. No foolish stunts for him, he said, for when he soars, he's lost his head. From that great height, we seemed to be a yellow-foot fishhook in the sea, an endless line extending north, wet by two oceans' ceaseless froth. The Ferguson Arms at Hyannis was mighty good, I'll vouch for this. 'Twas hard to get Louise away. She went in every shop that day. But when we did go long at last, I'll say we traveled some old fast. No happier party ever toured the Cape without their lives insured. Louise, she wanted one more house, with great long arms that moved, but Freddie winked his weather eye. It did not seem behooved. At Bourne we jumped the big canal, then to the woods. I never shall cease laughing at what then took place upon our Freddy's sober face. Yes, we got lost. What does it matter? We rubbed it in with merry chatter. Just had to go a few miles back and get upon the beaten track. One night in Boston was enough. Compared to the Cape, 'twas rather tough. For the artist waited an hour or more for Louise to fiddle around one store. 'Twas a charity sale, by Jove, 'twas funny to see that girl save all her money. She bought a lot at prices so small, if she'd had 1,000, she'd spent it all. Our last day's run was the grand North Shore, with skids and eats and views galore. So, as all good things must have an end, and it's hard to make my last words blend, I'll stop right here with my rotten rhyme and thank you again for a splendid time. Louis D. Norton, read by James Bruner.